Welcome to the Nerd Party.
Want to be a part of the Nerd Party community? Don't forget to like our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/thenerdparty and follow us on Twitter at @JoinNerdParty. You can also help us by leaving a rating and comment in Apple Podcasts to help spread Time and Space to other listeners. If you want to contact us, visit thenerdparty.com/contact, click on our show logo, and leave a comment for us there. Time and Space, a Doctor Who podcast. I'm Jessica Nunn.
And I'm her long-suffering husband and co-host, Philip Gilfus.
Right, what's up with the long-suffering?
Well, it's been a long series. Oh, you thought I meant that I was modifying the husband, and not just
it did sound
long-suffering.
Perhaps you said I'm her husband and long-suffering co-host.
Well, that might say our podcast relationship isn't going well.
I understand, but it might have given me a little less pause than... You know what? Let's just start over.
Well, I think by this point we're invested. So, well, speaking of things coming to a close, other than our relationship, apparently.
It's a good time to wrap everything up together.
With a cliffhanger. We're going to be doing another double dose, but that's because, I don't know, I feel like Chip Noll wanted us to do a double dose. So this was the so-called two-part series finale.
Yes.
With Ascension of the Cybermen and the Timeless Children, which, of course, in Series 12, I guess unless you count the holiday specials as part of the, which I do. But anyway. But, of course, Ascension of the Cybermen aired 23 February, and the Timeless Children aired 1st March of 2020. For our Inside the TARDIS Library segment, we're going to be talking a little book review, and it's The Wheel of Ice by Stephen Baxter, a Second Doctor tale.
Ah, and you got it in hardback and everything.
I did. That was from our, from our Asheville bookstore trip.
Oh, okay.
Which we may or may not be returning to.
Yep.
So, when you want to give us, just to refresh things, because I think we're kind of going to approach these globally if you want to, but just to kind of go individually just for a second here and just remind everyone, give me a synopsis for Ascension of the Cybermen.
I shall do it. In a galaxy still dealing with the aftermath of the deadly cyber wars, the 13th Doctor and her companions are separated both from each other and from the TARDIS. Banding together with the last dredges of humanity, they must all attempt to find Kosh-Sharmas and the Boundary before Ashad or any of the other remaining Cybermen forces can locate them. And who is Brendan, the abandoned baby?
That storyline definitely happened.
Yeah. I was like, I don't know who Brendan... And then by the time I got to the end of it, I was like, oh no, I think I do.
Yes.
I don't know the answer to my own question.
And before we move on, just quick reaction, because we did watch this episode twice. We watched it when it aired, and then did a refresher before watching The Timeless Children, because time had passed. And again, if I was to understand that this was a two-part finale, I wanted to refresh the first part, kind of in parallel with how we watched the series premiere. But just a quickie, what did you think of Ascension?
Pulled a lot of threads that, because it's because it's the first part, didn't necessarily come together yet. But again, that's the point. That's not a criticism. So yeah, a lot of questions once you finish that one. Including, #spoilers, the fact that the Master shows up at the very end of it.
Right. Which parallels, I suppose, the...
Skyfall.
Yeah, Spyfall.
Whatever.
You've seen through their clever...
Play on words. Oh, that's what they did.
Why were they all in tuxedos? I don't get it.
And does the 13th Doctor own long trousers?
Yeah, I don't know. It was not that there was a lot going on. I mean, not that they were juggling, but it just seemed like, especially with Graham and Yaz and the guest stars, they don't get names.
All the guest stars.
Yeah, but I don't think it was district. I mean, my opinion, you can disagree. But on the cyber ship, I mean, I guess they were both on cyber ships. But anyway, their cyber ship that they were on, it just seemed, with the lone Cybermen chasing them, at the end of the day, didn't seem like it was just spinning their wheels, to me. I mean, was it suspenseful? Was it action? Yes, but to me, at the end of the day, it's like, what was that all for? Mm-hmm. And then even the Brendan storyline. Now, of course, we're going to get that explained, but like,
are we?
That's a good, like, I don't exaggerate. A fourth, maybe less than a fourth, but like a sixth of that episode, and it's like, could have just done a little bit, like, or not
we didn't
at all.
need to follow him all the way through. Yeah,
it's a metaphor, but anyway. So yeah, it was a little whatever. We'll talk about the lone Cybermen more. So, but anyway, we're going to give us the timeless children, and we'll dive into everything here.
Yes, please. Gallifrey is dead. The Master is in control of an army of Cybermen ready to take over the universe, and Graham, Ryan, and Yaz are trapped, being hunted down with the last remnants of humanity. But for the Doctor, one question remains: who is the timeless child?
Child. Now, one thing I had to think about, and I didn't look it up, this is just, what I remember, which is sketchy at best, where the Ascension of the Cybermen starts with the Doctor taking her companions to this coordinates that Shelley gave, or whatever.
Right.
But anyway, it's like, it's the end when there's not a lot of humanity, and there's not a lot, it's the end of the Cyber War. But I was trying to think, in some ways, that was kind of like, I mean, when did that happen? Like, we know there's humans in the future. Mm-hmm. Because I'm thinking like Utopia with the 10th Doctor. At the end of the universe, there's humans and whatever. I mean, it's a whole other storyline. But I mean, I'm saying it just seemed like, there's like a dozen humans left in this cyber war. Because was it because the lone Cyberman got the Cyberium and that he's changed history? Or does he have it now? And this was how it always was. And the only time I can remember, and again, I could Google this, but I remember off my brain, so listeners can yell at me that I'm wrong. But then I remembered the episode, the 11th Doctor episode, with Clara and her student, and with Clara's kids that she was minding.
Oh right, yes.
In the if you remember the thing, and that was the end. It was past the Cyber War because they had the Cybermen playing chess, who was it was from when the Cyber War was over, and then of course the Cybermen awoke. And the Silver Nemesis? Maybe that's what it was called. Because it was the one where Matt is playing both the cyber controller.
Oh, right. Yes.
But anyway, so that was kind of like the Cyber War was in the past. So, but anyway, that was just because I didn't remember our Cyber War, whether they're just making this up now or whatever. But anyway, that's just a long way of saying I didn't really, this is the remnants of humanity. I'm like, that's kind of a grim ending. Or maybe this is one of those parallel endings. Is this like climate change? Do we get a change in the cyber? But anyway. But I don't know. I don't know. What thread would you like to pick up on this two-part finale? I mean, I have an outline if you need to go to, but what were your thoughts? Well, where do you think the Doctor has ended? Or even in these two stories, how did you think the Doctor was reacting to the events around her?
Here's the thing, for me, with the Doctor story. So basically, the Master's like, you're adopted.
Right.
And she's like, okay, cool. And that, I know that you don't necessarily want to give in to what the Master wants, which is a big reaction. But there's also no point in putting this huge reveal that was alluded to in the first season of the 13th Doctor.
Right.
For there not to be some sort of reaction. Instead of just, oh, right then, moving on. I felt...
Yeah, I don't know, and I hate to throw the cards on the table. Not that I didn't like these two episodes, but ultimately very disappointing for me. It's been a very disappointing week, and
oh, baby!
You know what you did. Dinner sucked. No,
you said it was okay.
No, because not that I've talked about it, but I don't know what your opinions were. Watching the latest episode of Star Trek Picard, I had lots of notes. And it was like, meh. And then this two-part, it was like, meh. And then there's political stuff going on that I'm like, meh. And so it's not like a lot of...
And then we don't know yet who's going to marry whom on the Love is Blind.
Exactly.
You're right.
One episode
left. Yeah.
But, I mean, I don't want to be disappointed. I mean, it's my reaction. Everyone else obviously has their own reaction. But I hate to be disappointed by stuff that I like. And so, with this part, this build-up, it's going to be big. And I guess in some parts, I'd heard the rumor, honestly, like a year ago, and had dismissed it. Oh, they're going to say there was a Doctor before, the first Doctor. I'd seen it on Twitter.
Right, yeah.
And so now, like, that's what it is. And I'm like, I mean, that's...
Do you think they're getting ready for a spinoff?
I don't know. Because, and Twitter's not real life. I know. But some of the...
Wait, what?
I know. But some of the Doctor Who Twitter that I was looking at, which again is not necessarily reflective of the fandom, it's just what's on Twitter, or at least what I'm reading, is like, people don't like it because I think it's hurting the canon, we're establishing. But that's not my problem with it. I don't have any problem that we're saying all this stuff. And I just think it was not a great episode to me. That's my opinion. Because to me, the Doctor seems so passive. Mm-hmm. And there's Doctors who have been that way, like... I don't have the receipts with me, but like the Fifth Doctor, there's some Doctors who aren't necessarily the most making things and epic and standing all this stuff.
But 13th Doctor has in the past,
right? And
so yeah, I get that. Like I say, you're adopted, okay,
yeah,
and that was it.
And also, I guess the whole story Doctor Who you're supposed to have fun, but there's a lot of part of the story that fell apart. For instance, you're just supposed to take it as read that the Master just destroyed Gallifrey and killed everyone.
Yep.
Like, how?
Yeah.
How?
Yeah.
You just, like... And also, what... I mean, and I know he's insane, so there doesn't actually have to be an answer to this. But what is he really mad about? He's like, we were lied to. How? What? That your origins were your creations?
You mad about Santa Claus, too?
I know.
I mean, what's going on? Yeah.
I don't get why... he's mad... lowercase m, but like, why is he so? I don't get how he did it, and then he's like, I just kept the bodies. So like, he killed all the children of Gallifrey, right? The one that in the 50th anniversary, we're all like, did you ever count the children? Well, the Master killed them all; they're all dead. Kept the bodies somewhere in a fridge, and destroyed the whole world.
And now the new Cybermen have really fantastic collars.
Yes,
ornate, one might even say.
He had time to...
I assume so.
Right.
I assume so. Yeah.
Considering you just thought of it like 5 seconds ago.
Yep.
And so he went to Pinterest and...
Yeah. And I guess it feels to me, when I talked about the first episode and I was like, picked at a lot of threads that were left untied, but that's okay because it's a two-parter. But the second part didn't tie any of them up particularly. We got the solution of who the timeless child is, but even that feels crowbarred a little bit. And I'm sure that this isn't the way it happened, but like Chris Chibnall was like, timeless child, let's do something with this. I'll figure out what later. Mm-hmm. And then 2 hours before they were supposed to start filming, he decided, okay, this is what I got. This is all I got. I would have liked to have maybe seen hints dropped through, and the new Dr. Ruth. Dr. Ruth?
Yes.
That's unfortunate. Dr. Negative, whatever. Showing back up or suddenly appearing in dreams or, because here's a really bad analogy, but It's a little bit Bucky Barnes.
I'll do it.
In that, all my memories have been wiped away. Mm-hmm. But Bucky Barnes occasionally has these moments where he's like, I'm going to go to the Smithsonian and look up Captain America, and I don't know who he is yet, but I'm going to do my research. None of those things, none of those little nibbles were set down to, that would have been fantastic to have her wake up from a dream or in her research. All we've got, the little nibbles we got, were of her going, I'm investigating Gallifrey. Don't talk to me. I'm not giving you any details about it, to her companions. And that's it. And so we didn't get any details. And so all of this just feels crowbarred to me.
And also why this, like I said, I don't want to be negative, but like little stuff. I'll go to a bigger stuff here, but a little stuff like the boundary. So like the Doctor walks up to the boundary in Ascension, and it's like oh, it's Gallifrey, which she can easily get to in the TARDIS, we've established.
Yes.
But, okay, it's sensing it's her. I'll buy it, So then why does it just stay open throughout the whole thing? And then, when Ryan walks up to it, and it's still there. We're just going to walk right into it. And that's a little part. The bigger part is just that...
And let's go back. Nothing is explained about poor Brendan, right?
Right. I mean, that's left hanging. Because to me, I don't know. To me, it's not that. Maybe I'm just underwhelmed, and I shouldn't be. This whole doctor is the timeless child. And, okay. I mean, to me, that's not. Why should I find that interesting? I mean, that the doctor doesn't know her identity, and that's interesting.
Again, would be interesting if it appeared that she felt that way.
Right.
But she's just like, okay, that doesn't change anything.
Yeah, you've made me stronger because I don't know.
Yeah.
And again, it would make more sense, like you said, if this was a little more invested in this ending.
Yeah.
Or in this reveal. Whereas we just get Ruth for one episode, and that's it. There's no sprinklings. And also, because I think the Ruth Doctor is interesting in as much as she is. Well, 2 episodes, sorry. No, that was just the one episode, sorry. I was thinking. The Fugitive of the Jadoon was her only episode besides this. But, if we had maybe gotten, maybe 1 or 2... And you didn't have to invest a lot into it. Other doctors.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some glimpse, some hallucination, something. Other than just it's just this one. But it's symptomatic of a lot more.
Yeah.
It's all we could afford. We spent all the money on...
This is just for example.
It's a model home. Well, we spent all our money on guest stars. We didn't realize would need guest stars for the clothes, so we got the one. But also because the little stuff, and this is going to be me being fanboy, whatever, nerd. But the whole Ruth had a TARDIS that was a police box. So then where does she fit in? Yeah. Is it because I was watching this on Twitter, but in a good Twitter, Doctor Who Twitter, and there were a lot of people that had good explanations. Maybe it's previously the Doctor had stolen a TARDIS, or maybe it's happened before, or maybe she's actually after Hartnell or something, and my conclusion, and maybe I'm wrong, lazy writing. That's why. It's because they're we got to foreshadow she's the Doctor. What looks like the Doctor? The police box. Well, but why would she have a police box as a TARDIS if it could have just been a TARDIS? Yeah. It didn't have to look like
don't we have the tree in this? Yes. That she's like, oh, that's a nice whatever it is.
That'll stay there forever.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I know that I'm not trying to pick on things, but it just seems like if that's the big reveal...
Can we go back to talking about Brendan?
Yeah, and the division...
And I just...
The redacted Mueller report. I mean, the redacted doctor report.
I mean, you just have this poor little fella who's orphaned. Does that have anything to do with the fact that he later becomes a Cyberman? The fact that he was orphaned? Anyway, he lives his whole entire life. He retires from the police force. And then there are, other police officers who are like, okay, it's time. And they handcuff him. And they're like, you had a good life. Too bad you won't remember it. Dun, dun, dun. And then we've got this half Cyberman. But how did that...
Well, Brendan is the Doctor.
Brendan's the Doctor?
So, during the Timeless Children episode... It was when the Master was in the Matrix, the Doctor was glitching between Brendan and young her, the guy. He was I'm trying to remember. It was a black. I can't remember black man or black woman that was the Doctor at that time. I want to say it was black guy maybe because it had the what's her name, Tokten, whatever. Was sort of, and the
mom
and the division person that would change between the guy who was the guard, the recruiter, the main guard, not the Brandon.
Okay.
And so it would flicker between them, that. They were just placeholders. So that it was supposed to be the timeless child who was found, and then brought up, and then died, and then didn't die, and then at the end gets the mind wiped. So it's supposed to be a metaphor. Or, something of how the Doctor's visioning this. I don't know. It was... Yes. I'm just telling you what I saw.
So now we have two origin stories for the Doctor. Well,
it's a metaphor for the first one. An analogy. Whatever, if I'm saying that word correctly.
Okay.
It's not literally an Irish village.
Right, but and then I guess my problem with that is we're the only ones who see that.
Yeah. No, I know. Yes.
So if the Doctor was seeing that, or dreaming it, or any of those things, I could get behind it.
Yes.
But, so Brendan's not the Cyber... I thought Brendan was the Cyberman.
I thought it was too, but in Timeless.
Okay.
Because now they've made it unclear, because then I'm thinking back to other eras of the New Who. In other words, I'm about to say they should have just resolved everything. But, there were times...
I didn't need them to resolve everything. I needed them to resolve something.
Because now they've introduced this division, and that there's a redaction in the Matrix that won't even show the whole story about how the Doctor has been rewritten or whatever. And so now that's a mystery.
Yep. And now the Jadoon are there and throw her in jail.
How do they get into the TARDIS?
I don't know.
That TARDIS, ever since 13,
it's got a lot of holes in the security breach.
10th Doctor barely had anyone. Had like a bride and a Titanic. That was it. But
bless. What does Captain Jack have to do with any of this?
How did he know?
How did he know these things? And really, we're just going to invite all of these humans from the future to come hang out in the 21st century, and off you pop. They have no identities. They can't get jobs.
Well, no. I'm trying to remember what they were, because they had regular jobs. She's a nurse.
Right, but they don't have, she can't walk into a hospital and be like, hey, I'm a nurse, and they're like, okay.
Don't they need nurses really bad?
They do, but I feel like she needs to have some sort of credentials.
If the Doctor could have hooked her up with Rory, maybe.
Maybe.
But they don't know each other.
No, and he's now in the 1920s,
right,
and so, that's never, it was a good idea.
There's an opening.
It does mean that there's an opening in his hometown, yes.
That's right.
Yes,
now they have to go,
but again, you got to have the credentials. You can't be like, I'm a nurse, and they're like, yeah, you look like one, and you pop.
You need to find the guy who the 10th Doctor sent down from the Titanic, who had all the money, and he just lives on Earth now.
Yeah.
There should be
So they all end up in Stark Tower? I feel like my analogy is working nicely so far.
And I guess with me, and again, I always emphasize that because your mileage may vary, and please tell me if you have different reactions, because I'm not the king of opinions here. I can only say what I thought. With the Timeless Children, I felt like it was a lot of telling. Like half the episode was a fourth of the episode was just like, here's the Master in the Matrix telling you about the Timeless Child. Okay, not that it wasn't interesting, but that's kind of like I could have read that. I don't know if you really need to watch a show of it. Or, and I don't know, there's ways to do it if you're going to make me think on the spot about it, but
I'm not making you do anything, baby.
Where, the Doctor could sort of, in the Matrix, could put the Doctor in the role of herself, and she sees things happening, and then it's more meaningful than just we're watching something happening or being told. And then half the episode, or quarter, is just the Master. Now, maybe, and you can talk about the Master, but, I'm watching Doctor Who, I'm not watching the Master show. Because it's just him for half an episode doing his fiendish plot.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
You know what would have been interesting is putting her into the Matrix at the beginning of the first episode. Mm-hmm. And then having her see Brendan's story and the other story, flipping back and forth. And meanwhile, Yaz and Graham and Ryan are trying to escape the Cybermen on the planet and have taken, and can't get help from her because so they're doing their whole fleeing, trying to find the guy so they can go into the thing, and she's in this the whole time. And then you don't have to tell me everything. I don't have to know how it all ends, but now I'm intrigued.
It would have been more rewarding if the Doctor figured it out rather than just the Master telling her, oh, it's you.
Yeah.
And the Doctor would be like, wait a minute, am I the time?
Yeah. Seeing little things that trigger or that reveal for us in some way. And I don't know what that would be yet, but...
Yeah, it just seemed like, literally and figuratively, the Doctor was paralyzed for this episode.
Yeah.
Because it just seems like really... I don't want to be gruesome, but, all of her people are dead. She's paralyzed. There's nothing she can do. It's just, really bad. The Master's pretty much winning. He's killed everyone. He got the lone Cyberman, and that ended in 2 seconds.
And why aren't we getting, like, I don't understand the weird swimmy thing that the Cyberman, the lone Cyberman has ingested or whatever.
Oh, the Cybermenium.
Yeah, I didn't understand it in the Shelley.
Right.
I don't understand it now. I don't understand how it gets transmitted or exactly what it does. I don't understand why the lone Cyberman chose what he chose. I don't understand why he only has half a cyber face. I don't understand any of these things, and nobody's given me any clues.
Yeah, there was like...
And now he's just a little soldier, toy soldier thing, and done.
Yep, death particle. There was like a line from the co-shamus, whatever. Oh, by the way, I was part of a resistance cell. We sent the Cybermenium back. That was us. My bad. That was my bad. I'm like, okay, well, that line of dialogue solves it all, I guess.
Yeah.
Let's focus on a little bit more here. So let's talk about the companions and whether they did anything. Maybe they did. Series 12, Yaz. You know, this was going to be her series, darling.
It has not been her series. It was going to be
Yaz all the time.
I mean, she's been really clever in this one.
Yeah, she has.
She. I mean, in terms of, like, she's picked up during the, we're abandoned, she and Graham were able to be like, oh, no, we've done this before. Don't take a deep breath, you know. And
there was a lot, I mean, I liked it, but it did get repetitive of like, we know what to do, right? Yeah, this will be fine. I mean, they did like 5 times. I mean, I get it, what they're going for, like, and they're all like, oh, hopeful. We're hopeful. Yep. Like the doctor, they didn't say that, but that's the message you're supposed to get, you know. Yep. We're hopeful like the doctor's hopeful, you know, and I mean, I get it. That was fine that they were, you know, trying to motivate the other humans, but.
And I don't necessarily think it would be a bad thing for the companions to feel betrayed in some way, or abandoned in some way. You know, I think
Series 13, darling.
Yeah, maybe. I just feel like, it's okay for them not to be on board with every single thing.
We're here for you.
Yeah, fam.
Team TARDIS.
Yeah.
Well, I did, and I didn't know what to think about it. It wasn't a negative thing, but it just worried me when it happened. Where near the end of Timeless, you know, Graham's like, by the way, Yaz.
Here's all my blah.
Well, I just want to say you're really awesome. I'm like, oh my God, Yaz is going to die. Yeah. Oh my God, what are you doing? What's happening? Is she leaving the series? What's going on? I just want to say you're really good. I know we haven't really focused on you for the whole series. Really any of them.
I don't know a whole lot about you.
You're really, really good. And we want you to know that we all love you. And here's a watch and a cake. And
now we're going to handcuff you to a chair and erase your memory.
I was like, oh my God, what are they doing to Yaz? Yep. With this much praise, something bad's going to happen. Yeah. And I mean, it was supposed to be a tender moment, but I was scared because no one else got that. There wasn't any, like, you know, Graham, you're a good human. I mean, I get it. That was a little funny line. But there's no, like, oh, Ryan. Ryan's great, too, isn't he? And
yeah, but Ryan was on his own somewhere doing something with other people. Yeah. And I don't even know what he was doing. Yeah, shooting. He was with Basketball. The Resistance.
Yeah.
And,
Which, and again, I don't know the purpose of this episode. I don't know the purpose of the story. In other words, is it just action? Which, I mean, that's fine, I guess. You know, it's not my thing. I mean, I say that. It's not my thing in this genre. You know, watching Picard, they have some action stuff that I don't like. That's not this podcast. Doctor Who, action stuff. I don't know, that's not really why I watch Doctor Who. I mean, I'll watch an action movie, don't get me wrong. You know, I'll watch murder. But, and then Doctor Who, I mean, this doesn't do anything for me. I don't know, maybe I'm not the...
Yeah, I don't know.
Because it seemed like there was, like, these past 2 episodes have been nothing but with the Cybermen chasing
running
them.
And
shooting and explosions and all that.
Did you just say plosions?
Blowsions.
Yeah.
Blowsions. No, cyber blowsions.
Cyber blowsions.
But in other words, I think if you go back to like the series 11, you know, where the Doctor's trying to teach Ryan to think and not shoot, and then you have this episode where he's just shooting. I mean, I get he's young. But,
and he does say, oh, I'm not sure about the guns, and the guy's like, too bad. Yeah. Here you go. Off you pop.
I mean, it was a funny part with the basketball or the bomb. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to take away that wasn't a funny scene.
Oh, and when he was like, I won this for all of us. I did it. We all did it, but mostly me.
That's right.
That was cute.
Yeah, it was. But, like, with him and the old guy and the young kid, and I'm like... Because this episode... I don't know how long it was. It was longer than a regular episode.
It was like an hour and a half,
and so for 30 minutes, it's just them shooting at Cybermen. I mean, you could have just done 50 minutes and cut that out, and nothing would have changed.
I did notice when we got sort of a long shot of Ryan and the old guy and the young guy running, that Ryan's got a very unusual run, and I was wondering if it was an acting choice.
All right. Well, I would think so, or I would hope so.
Dude might just have a weird run.
Well,
that's
he has
okay.
I forget what it's called.
Dyspraxia,
Yes.
but that's what I didn't know if it was a dyspraxia choice or if Tosin just runs funny.
Yeah.
I dated a guy in high school who ran with his arms straight down by his side while he ran. That was weird. So sometimes people just run strange.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. There you go. All right. So I don't know. I guess you kind of done it naturally. Anything else about Ryan? There was that. It wasn't odd, but I'll just lampshade it. That's not the right word. At the end, where the doctor's like, "Oh, I'm going to go sacrifice myself," and I was like, "No," and Ryan's like, "It's fine."
It'll be fine.
I mean, he's the realist. The realist. He's also the realist, but no, he's the realist of the group. He's more like the
fun with words.
He's like, let's kill Shelley. That's what
Yeah.
When you have that many characters, everyone's got to play a role.
Yeah.
And so you want someone to be like, let's just kill him, and no, we shouldn't kill him, and then the doctor. That's their roles. But I just thought that was
foils.
Yeah. Anything to say about Graham?
No.
He was there. He did
stuff.
Yeah,
he did. He was all sort of optimistic, and then gave inspiring speech to Yaz. Woo.
Yeah. And dressed like a Cyberman. And
oh yeah, it was his idea. Yeah, that was good.
I'm not saying it's a great idea, but this is going to be, I don't know. So the lone Cybermen.
I've said all I want to say.
Well, this is just what, introduced in the episodes before this.
Yep.
For once, and maybe we need to rewatch that. I don't know. But anyway, it seems like, he's never explained, as you say.
Uh-huh.
And then he's like, he just has a death particle, which I like he just has. And then they're like, halfway through the time as children. I wonder why he would have had. Well, there's been tales of a Cyberman who had a death particle. It's told in fairy tales across the land. I'm like, really? Really? People just know about the death particle and the lone Cyberman who just appeared 5 seconds ago. But anyway, and so he seems to be the villain, of the piece. And then the Master, and that's kind of weird. The Master and the Cyberman, whatever. I'm ignoring it because it's the Master and he always has weird ideas, but whatever. And then it's like, da-da-da, and then the Master were just like, boop.
Yep.
Lone Cyberman over.
Yep.
I'm like, if that was...
That story's done.
Like, to me, the Lone Cyberman was like Toothy McTootherson.
Oh, right. Yes. Tim Shaw.
Like, you set him up as this big bad, and then it's like, but he's really not that interesting. Well, I mean, I think the Lone Cyberman is more interesting than Tim Shaw. But we don't get anything about the Lone Cyberman, and so after a while, I'm just like, well, he's bad. I mean, I'll grant you that.
Yep.
But I don't know anything about him.
No. And there's teasing about it. And that's the thing with
like
the
he volunteered, he says.
Yeah, and that's the thing with the Cybermen, is that there's the potential for really interesting backstory. Oh, if the lone Cyberman had been Bill...
Oh, God, yeah.
I mean, that would have been terrible,
yeah,
but
right, yeah.
also amazing.
Uh-huh.
There are things you can do about, because the Cybermen used to be human.
Right.
There's loads you can do with it. And the fact that he's only half Cyberman, can he be swayed? Can he be turned? They don't even try.
And then also one thing that was in the back of my mind with the beginning of Ascension, that the Cybermen, or the Cyber War, whatever, I don't know, they kind of seem to have it both ways. Because they're like, oh, it's dwindled the human race, but it's dwindled the Cybermen as well. I'm like, I don't know, there's going to be a lot of Cybermen compared to the number of humans.
Especially if the Cybermen take the humans, and that doesn't...
There's sort of a...
proportionally, that doesn't make sense.
There's also I don't know if everyone's ever coined a term, but I don't know how you do it, the vampiric exponential fallacy. That in other words, at some point the Cybermen are vampires, except instead of blood, their bodies. Well, they got to, at some point, if they keep killing humans, they're going to run out. Mm. Which they now have, it seems. Now,
But they don't need to kill them to survive.
Right. But, I mean, once you don't have any more, you just have...
Which is a fallacy in your fallacy.
Well, I mean, if they can't get new recruits... Now, I don't think they're human-centric necessarily, but they seem to be introduced that way. I mean, they can, any bipedal species would probably do in the end. But anyway, so if it's just humans, but so they can't get any more new ones if they've assimilated, or they're not assimilated, but we know that's what they mean.
Yep.
Assimilated them all. So then, that's it once you kill them all. So
now what do we do?
Yeah.
Play chess?
But the lone Cyberman then has this thing about, I want to be fully robotic and fully automated, which is interesting in as much as it is. But then that's a thing that I would have wanted to go into, because you're saying, I'm introducing this concept of the vampiric fallacy, but you're saying, well, if we run out of organics, then we should evolve into fully robotic. And that is something, and there's something there you could play with.
But again, aren't the others all fully robotic? Isn't he the only half-masked guy? He's the Phantom of the Cybermen?
Well, they're all, Borg. There's people inside those things.
Right. Except...
like dead Time Lord bodies, which apparently...
but it's dead bodies.
I don't know how...
They're dead.
Well...
Because there was the whole thing, when Graham took over them, they had to take out the dead bodies.
Yeah. Well, I think those Cybermen were broken. Or, they weren't working. Because I think you have to be alive.
Have you tried to turn it off and turn it on again?
Because, I'm thinking about past stuff, like when Torchwood 1 was invaded by the Cybermen and was, I can't even remember, what's the cyber word? It's not assimilated. Upgraded, or whatever they call it.
Exterminate? No, that's different.
Yeah. But anyway, they take them alive.
Yeah.
I don't know they could just harvest dead bodies. That's a whole different thing to me. So when they're we just got a bunch of dead frozen Time Lords apparently in the closet, let's just drag them out and make them Cybermen. That's a new skill to me. I thought they usually had to be, but anyway, I don't go off on that. But anyway, but for the lone Cybermen, to me, ultimately disappointing to a maybe not really an interesting villain, but a potentially interesting one, but they just never explained him.
Yeah. Potentially very interesting. I feel like a lot could have been done with it. Mm-hmm. And just wasn't. And now he's a little tin soldier.
And then he just has a death particle. I don't...
These things happen.
All right. So anything more about the Master?
No. He did some of the... there was acting. There was a lot of scenery chewing. And that's sort of what you want in the Master. Mm-hmm. But it felt very one note in a way that it didn't in Spyfall. Or even in the one where she was time hopping and was hanging out with Ada Lovelace and...
I think that was Spyfall Part 2.
Was it?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a really long episode.
Did he not show up again at one point? Anyway.
Yeah, he's a Nazi. And then,
yeah, no, that was Spyfall. Yeah, okay. That's fine. So, yeah, a lot of interesting acting happening in that. This was all a little bit one note.
He just seemed to be winning a lot.
Yeah.
And that was... disturbing.
Yes.
To me, I don't know, maybe I'm sensitive about things he's really winning here. He's killing people. He's master planning. He's gonna win, I guess, and destroy the... And, I don't know. They make some things interesting. And whether you... I don't know, because I'm looking for a little depth, but, the fact that at the beginning of Timeless, where the Doctor sort of confronts him, but not really, because to me... No fault of Jodie, but I just think the Doctor was just not doing a lot this episode. But, where she confronts him did killing everyone make you feel better? Did it get rid of all the rage? But then, that was that. And then at the end...
Pretty words.
Yeah, and then when he kills, or whatever he does to the lone Cyberman, he's like, I thought he could have killed everyone, and that would have been fine. Oh, well. I guess I'll keep on going then. And that's a... potentially interesting thing that, he wouldn't mind. He has a death wish, but I know he doesn't have to. I guess the villain doesn't have depth, but
no, but his story didn't move forward at all.
No, and now he just got death particled. Of course, we totally know he died, right? But he just got death particled, and that's the end.
Okay.
No, great acting job. I just, story wise, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it from the two-parter.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what we haven't talked about. The ending, the very ending. So
and the Jadoon come and take her to prison.
The random guy, not the random guy, but the old guy's like, oh, I'll kill everyone. Because, let me back up to so the Doctor can't do it. What did you think of her, that she can't press the button? That she's not going to kill him? She can't press the button.
I think it's par for the course.
Right.
I think that's very in Doctor. I don't, however, if she can't do it, she doesn't want other people to do it.
That's what I think. So she hands it to the human, and she's just outsourcing her morality.
Yeah, exactly. And that's...
Because it also then, to me, belied a little bit of, there's like, I don't know, a dozen cyber lords, if that's what we're going to call them. I don't know. Like, no one's going to shoot anyone. Like, all right, the doctor and this guy are just going to have a discussion for 5 minutes. Everyone just hold on, guys. They're going to talk about
hold
their bomb.
fire, literally. High five.
And I'm like, should someone be shooting someone at some point here? Master's just looking on, like, I'll wait for you guys to figure out how you're going to kill us.
Yeah.
And then
the Jadoon. And this is the redacted Mueller report.
Yeah.
We don't know why she got arrested.
I mean, presumably from the Ruth doctor story.
Right.
Because, Ruth was the fugitive. Maybe that makes room for more Ruth. Except, of course, we know what the name of the episode is. Actually, I've now forgotten. Is it It's always the same word. Is it Revolution of the Daleks? It was something like that.
Yeah.
Our word of the Daleks.
Yeah. So, and I don't want the Daleks to come back yet. I still have Cybermen questions.
Yeah. And so apparently it's going to be the Doctor, the Jadoon. Well, it doesn't necessarily have to be the Jadoon. They could have just been... How'd they get into the TARDIS? Don't know that. And then she's in a prison of some sort. And
dun dun dun.
Yeah. It'd be cool if Ruth showed up again and been more of that. But,
definitely. But.
And this will be our holiday special. And then the companions are stuck or returned to Earth.
Yep.
To live their lives again. And
happy ever, happy ever, happy ever after.
So, I mean, that's the end of Series 12. How are you feeling?
Not great.
Not great.
Not great.
Yeah, and we'll do a whole roundup later on, but I'm going to say really disappointing series.
Yes, I would agree.
I love Jodie.
Yep.
Love the companions,
yep.
both the actors and the characters. But I'll say Chris Chibnall has disappointed me this series because he co-wrote almost like every episode. So
yep.
It's him. And I would just say I mean, there was things that he was trying to do that could be interesting, but ultimately, the best episode in my opinion was Fall. And honestly, that was about it.
Yeah. I mean, the first season felt piecemeal, but you can identify some really good episodes.
Right.
I'm not feeling it really with this one.
Yeah. So they were doing a reverse Capaldi, in my opinion.
Yes, so far. We'll see what happens next season. Presuming everybody's coming back.
Yeah, and then, though, with timey-wimey, this is not a time for speculation. I'm not saying I want her to, but I think Jodie probably only has one more series in her.
I would assume so, just based on patterns. Yeah.
And the time, and so, I mean, there's probably only one more series left with the 13th Doctor, and that's, first
that makes me sad.
And the second one's like, and the third one's like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyway, well, let's move on here into the TARDIS library.
Before we start drinking whiskey again.
When you close your eyes,
I go to the library.
Go to the library now.
So for Into the TARDIS Library, I read The Wheel of Ice by Stephen Baxter. Doctor Who novel, of course. It's a second Doctor story. Mm-hmm. So it had the Doctor and Jamie and Zoe. She's not Victoria. It's just because, so she's a little more, she's human, but she's from the future. Computer, nerdy. She's smart. But anyway, they basically, long story short, so this is set in the rings of Saturn, as you can tell from the cover, not the people listening, but the Wheel of Ice is sort of the rings.
Okay.
And it's in the future, of course, where there's like a mining operation. And there's this, the reader knows, there's this sort of intelligence, this being, there's something that is once something that's located there. It's made a big time event happen, and it's sort of watching. And anyway, but as the Doctor is caught in some sort of time-me loop and lands there, we will learn it's because this being has made this sort of time event happen, where they sort of sent this, I forget what they call it in the story, but amulet is what I'll call, into the past to Earth, in hopes that would bring people to it to help it. So it's sort of like we can use time travel, but in a limited capacity. So it's sort of like a life buoy. And so it's basically brought humans, because there's this one character who has the amulet. It's been passed down generations. And we sort of meet like this family where like the mom's the mayor of the colony, and the younger, not that young, but the younger daughter is kind of, helps around. And there's kind of her brother is kind of like a troublemaker, juvenile delinquent. Then there's like a little kid, because there's always a little kid. But anyways, Jamie ends up getting in with the troublemaker, because they sort of on the colony, they have sort of like A, B, and C classifications. So like the A's are the smart ones, and the B's are the kind of smart ones, and like the juvenile's like a C or a D or something. Like, yeah, it has to wear a jumpsuit that says that or something. But anyway, like all the
dunce cap.
Yeah, basically. But all the juveniles end up like escaping to this planet where they just, have juvenile fun. That's where Jamie ends up with the story. And they call him Granddad because he tends to be like the responsible one, even though he's young too, but he's sort of like, and I think the fun thing with Jamie is he's always of his time. Like, he's always a Highlander. He's he's been around the Doctor a little bit, but he's still like, these are, weird things that are going on. So, but it's interesting how he sort of is the granddad. He's sort of the responsible of the kids over there. Zoe ends up hanging around with the girl, and then there's this Scottish robot.
Good times.
Who thought he was a person, but now he knows he is a robot. But it's interesting, So he speaks in phonetic Scottish
brogue
dialect. Sorry,
brogue.
Yeah, or dialect, I guess is the word I'm looking for. But anyway, so that's sort of interesting, and there's these sort of like the way they establish this colony. There's like sort of the mining representative who's kind of like the bad person, sort of the mean person. Then you have sort of like an ethics person. And then you have, like, I'm trying to remember, these different representatives. Like, there's the mayor I talked about. And then also these different characters that make up sort of like the council. They're all very interesting in how they relate to everything. But there have been these little blue dolls, is what they call them, that at the beginning of the book, everyone denies exist. But the Doctor sees them, and Zoe sees them. And for some reason, like, they remind me, I don't know if you remember Galaxy Quest, when they landed on the planet, and there's all these cute little things, and I'm like, oh, and then they're like, have these ferocious teeth.
Yeah,
I mean, they don't have the ferocious teeth, but it kind of reminds me of sort of that's what they look like. They're sort of like these little spongy blue things that end up kind of causing trouble on the colony.
I really wish that the audience could see you do your spongy blue thing dance, because it's very cute.
And I mean, it ends up being from this being that we talk about, but
a timeless child.
Yeah, exactly. So, but there have been shenanigans with parts being stolen and things happening, and sort of that starts to escalate about things getting stolen and people getting injured, and suddenly escalates even more, and then there tends to be more of a thing of where the bad humans are trying to quarantine the bad, like the seas. Because they're troublemakers. And she's trying to blame them, even though we all know it's the blue dolls that are causing the trouble. And then that sort of, is there some class, like the author, what's the story they're kind of trying to tell is very interesting. Because, I guess with British classism, obviously it's not something, as an American, I'm involved with. But I don't know if they're trying to explore that a little bit.
Yeah.
It goes from there, because obviously the Doctor wants to eventually finds out that this being exists and is trying to communicate, even though there's a lot of misunderstandings and there's a lot of, violence between the blue dolls and the people, and, and having to try to maintain peace when there's all this violence and everything, and trying to figure out what they want and how people can work together and all that. So it's all very interesting. It goes on probably a little longer than it needs to, but on the whole, I would say it's a recommend for anyone interested in a good Doctor Who novel.
Cool.
So yeah, The Wheel of Ice. Well, darling, what we're going to be talking about next episode?
What is that?
You know what number episode it is next time?
It is apparently 100.
We've done, after this one, 100 episodes of
Wow.
Time and Space. So I think we're going to just keep it open to just general Doctor Who-ness and look back at 100 episodes. It's not going to be like a clip show or anything, but just as far as, the journey through Doctor Who as we look back at 100 episodes of Time and Space.
Forever.
That's right. Well, until next week, it's the end of New Doctor Who for now, but there's obviously so much to look back and watch, so enjoy the Doctor's many adventures throughout
Time and space.
This is BBC Television.